in the far north, surrounded by towering pine trees and endless white mountains, there was a small town called Frost Valley. During winter, the temperature dropped to -14 degrees Celsius, sometimes even lower. Snow covered the roads, rooftops, and even the dreams of the people who lived there. In a small wooden house at the edge of the town lived a boy named Kieran Blake. Kieran was not born into wealth. His father repaired old heaters and fireplaces, and his mother stitched winter coats for neighbors. Life was simple and often difficult, but Kieran had something rare. He had a dream. While other kids complained about the freezing weather, Kieran stood outside in the snow, staring at the mountains. One day, he would whisper, "I will climb higher than anyone from this town ever has." People laughed at him. "Look at you," they said. "You can barely afford proper boots." But dreams don't need money. They need courage. One winter, the cold became harsher than ever before. Snowstorms lasted 4 days. Schools closed. Work slowed down. Money became tight. One evening, Kieran overheard his parents talking. "We might have to move," his father said softly. "There isn't enough work here." That night, Kieran couldn't sleep. Moving meant giving up the mountains, giving up his dream of becoming a professional mountain climber and rescue leader. The next morning, before sunrise, Kieran made a decision. If life was going to be cold, he would become stronger than the cold. Every morning at 5 a.m., while Frost Valley still slept, Kieran stepped outside. The air burned his lungs. His breath turned into white clouds. Snow crunched under his worn-out boots. He began running. At first, he could barely run 500 meters. His legs felt heavy. His fingers froze. Sometimes he slipped and fell into the snow. But every time he fell, he stood up again. When his hands became numb, he practiced gripping icy tree branches to strengthen them. When the wind pushed him back, he leaned forward and kept moving. The mountains became his teacher. The snow became his training ground. And pain became his companion. Not everyone believed in him. "Why torture yourself?" his friend Noah asked. "You'll never compete with city athletes." Even Kieran sometimes doubted himself. One evening, after a long run in a snowstorm, he collapsed near a frozen lake. His body trembled. His muscles ached. For a moment, he stared at the gray sky and thought, maybe they're right. Maybe he was just a poor boy chasing a rich man's dream. But then he remembered something his mother once told him. Snow only looks soft from a distance. Up close, it's strong and unbreakable. Be like snow. Kieran slowly stood up. Will not quit. One day, a poster appeared in town. National Mountain Rescue Training Program. Applications open. It was the most prestigious program in the country. Only the strongest, most disciplined young athletes were selected. Kieran's heart raced. This was it. But the nearest testing center was 18 kilometers away, and the roads were blocked with snow. His father looked at him carefully. "It's dangerous," he said. Kieran replied quietly. "So, is giving up." At 4 a.m. the next morning, under a sky full of pale stars, Kieran began walking. The wind howled. Snow hit his face. His fingers stiffened. Halfway there, his legs trembled. Every step felt heavier than the last. But turning back felt heavier than moving forward. So he kept going. By the time he reached the city training ground, his clothes were damp with melted snow. Around him stood dozens of candidates wearing branded jackets, advanced climbing gear, and confident smiles. Kieran wore his father's old gloves. The test began. Endurance running on snow, ice wall climbing, rope strength challenge, cold, survival simulation. Many participants quit during the ice wall climb. When it was Kieran's turn, his fingers were already tired from the long journey. The ice felt sharp and unforgiving. Halfway up, his grip slipped. Gasps echoed below. For a second, fear entered his heart. But then he remembered the mornings in Frost Valley, the lonely runs, the falls, the pain. He adjusted his grip and climbed all the way to the top. Results would be announced 2 days later. Those 2 days felt longer than the entire winter. When the list was finally posted, Kieran's hands shook as he searched for his name. Line 23. Kieran Blake. Selected. He read it again and again. It was real. Tears formed in his eyes. Not from the cold this time, but from pride. The boy from Frost Valley had done it. The program was intense. Training lasted 12 hours a day. They carried heavy equipment through snowstorms. They learned rescue techniques in dangerous conditions. Some trainees dropped out. Kieran stayed. Every bruise reminded him why he started. Every failure became fuel. In the final evaluation, a real emergency simulation was conducted. A lost climber had to be rescued during a staged snowstorm. Visibility was low. Wind was fierce. Many hesitated. Kieran stepped forward. He navigated carefully, using instincts developed in Frost Valley. He found the target faster than anyone else. When the trainers asked how he remained calm, he answered, "I grew up in storms." 2 years later, Kieran became one of the youngest certified mountain rescue leaders in the region. One winter night, an actual emergency call came from Frost Valley. A group of hikers was trapped in a blizzard. Kieran led the rescue team. As the helicopter hovered above the snowy mountains of his childhood, he looked down at the white world below. The same cold, the same snow, but a different boy. This time, he wasn't fighting the storm, he was mastering it. The rescue was successful, and as he walked through his hometown, wearing his official uniform, the same people who once doubted him now watched with admiration. His father's eyes shone with pride. Late that night, Kieran stood alone outside his childhood home. Snowflakes fell gently around him. He stretched out his hand and caught one. It melted instantly. He smiled. "The snow never stopped falling," he whispered. "I just stopped being afraid of it." Moral of the story: conditions may be cold. People may doubt you. The journey may hurt. But if you keep moving forward, if you refuse to quit, you will become stronger than the storm. Success does not belong to the richest or the luckiest. It belongs to the one who keeps walking through the snow.